Hello, in this video I'll be working on my truck/home. Sorry I haven't been very consistent with my uploads. I got some news to announce coming up soon. But for now, the main thing was getting my vehicle strengthened up. I'm not the one doing the welding in this video. I'm just cutting the pieces out for the person welding, as well as prepping the surfaces. I was given a welder, but I haven't had the time to learn, and this has become an urgent matter. I desperately needed to add cup holders to strengthen the chassis. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Small burning rubber.
I was using a wire brush to try and take off any rust that I could, try and clean the surface. Man, everything's rusty under here. If I acid dipped it, nothing would come out.
You'd end up with nothing.
Yeah.
Your car would be gone.
Nothing. In between tasks, I decided to change my oil as well because it needed it once again. I'm hoping to change it one more time before winter hits, because I know I'm not going to want to in the cold. The absolutely amazing person welding my vehicle up now. I've been trying to convince to make a YouTube channel of his own because I feel like he would make a great channel. Okay. I didn't film a lot of the strengthening process and welding because I wasn't the one doing it, but we worked from day to night, and this was my #1 priority as far as fixing my truck up. I also decided to jump in on doing some body work. I've been telling myself I was going to do it for a long time, so I figure what better time than now. And I should say attempting because I don't know what I'm doing and just kind of winged it. So I began prepping it by cleaning off any rust behind the fender line. And try putting some plates there. JB welded in. Cut this down where I scratched it at. No idea what I'm doing bodywork wise. I'm just kind of winging it. Seen enough videos where I can make something up. I'll just have to drill a hole through that. Okay, I got some quick setting JB weld. Switch out to the gloves I get for free at work. That way I can push it around with my finger if need be. Okay, put some alcohol on this to clean the area. You might need a tetanus shot for your eyeballs looking at this. Okay. Clean the plate too. So I'm just using these scrap plates just to JB weld to the back of the fender and use them as patches. That might be too much. We'll see. I'm sure we've all tried JB weld before, especially on things we probably shouldn't have. It's just a two-part epoxy that you mix in equal parts. I tried spreading the JB weld anywhere it would make contact with the fender. I picked up a bunch of cheap clamps and C-clamps from Harbor Freight to use for this project. I just clamped the plate down until the JB weld hardened. These adorable little C-clamps are only like $1 or $2 at Harbor Freight. I can see a bunch of uses for these. I don't know if that's I'm in shot, but in between waiting for that to dry, I'm gonna do some weed whacking. Help my buddy out. I ended up picking up my own cheap weed whacker. Seems like an odd purchase for a homeless guy, but I knew I need one in the future anyway, so I figured why not. It was also the Works brands, which I have some other electric tools that share the same battery, so that was a plus. Now I can whack weeds on my own time. I will say though, I got used to a 40 volt version of these weed whackers, so the 20 volt seems really weak in comparison. After I finished up weed whacking, I got back to the body work. It's funny, these gloves go on smoothly when I'm not in a rush, but the second you're rushing to put some of these on, it's binding up and you're tearing through it. Glad I have these gloves, because this would be very messy otherwise. Yeah, I put too much. Okay, I got this all clamped in now. Okay, hours have went by at this point. I went to check the box for the cure time and all that, and the set and cure time, but I realized I JB welded that to the back of this, used it as a like protector so these wouldn't get stuck to the truck. Let's see if that worked. But now I actually need to read the back of it. Luckily it's the future and we can just look these things up. There's some box. Oh yeah, it does say it on here. Set in 6 minutes and fully cured in 4 to 6 hours. I actually might have had enough time. I forgot when I did this, or what time it started. These are nice to have too. These are like $1 or $2 at Harbor Freight, and they actually have some good like pinch force. Those are pretty cool. Just cheap tools that actually work. I have to make a little patch for here too, because this is all weak. I scrapped a lot of these trays, and I kept some of them just because I found the usages, ways to reuse this type of stuff. Like for instance this, and then also I kept some copper, some jumper cables. I just tore out the copper and made 0-gauge wire out of it. So a while ago I found a bunch of old jumper cables that I decided to tear the copper out of and make 0-gauge wire out of. 0-gauge wire is pretty expensive, so I decided to reuse those for that purpose instead of scrapping them or throwing them away. And I wasn't sure if I should make a whole video out of it or not. So I've been finding good use out of what people would normally just scrap or throw away. I've been trying to at least, because it saves money. It's actually really hard. I thought this would be pretty easy. I've been finding the value in these materials that I find. That's what I meant to say. I feel like a blacksmith doing stuff like this. Trying to make this corner a little rounded. That way when I slide into the fender, it kind of goes to the arch of that. Some of it is kind of oddly bent for some reason. Safety first, right? Again, cleaning the surface with the wire wheel to make a good adhesion point. I jump around in this video a lot to save time, otherwise this video would have been extremely long. But I try to show as much as I can to make it cohesive. Clean it again with alcohol. Mixing up some JB Weld. I didn't use very much in this. I just used those two small pouches, I guess you call them something. No, tubes, that's what it is, tubes. And then I spread it out on the plate with my finger. Making commentary is harder than I thought. I told myself I was going to talk throughout this whole video, but honestly it's pretty hard. Once the plate is entirely covered, I stick it into the back of the fender and then clamp it down again. Giving the truck the clamps was pretty enjoyable, not gonna lie. You can hear someone in the background going to town with the weed whacker, saturating the peaceful sound of the crickets. I love these mini little C clamps. They're both adorable and useful. And cheap. And let's see if I can pull this fender liner out without destroying the bolts or anything. Yeah, everything's so fragile and rusty at this point. I'm gonna see if I can just open this wide enough so where I can clean this off and put a plate. Why did I say I was gonna commentate the whole time? Oh yeah, because my audio comes up pretty crappy sometimes. Still working on that. And this was already filmed before being able to do anything about it. The clamp once again. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit for a while. Popping the hood and switching to another project that I'm about to state in a second. Okay, I've been meaning to change this power steering pump for months now. Do that real quick. Alright, first we're changing the power steering pump. I have to break the pressure line loose. There's a banjo bolt I need to take off. After that, I take off the return line that just has a hose clamp on it on a nipple fitting. It's nice when things go smooth. There's a couple ways you can go about taking the power steering off for this vehicle. I find it easy to remove this long bolt that goes through the power steering pump and remove the pulley to get it off, but you could take the bracket off entirely. The reason you have to take the pulley off is because this bolt is too long and it'll just hit the back of the pulley. I'm gonna try breaking this pulley loose now. If it'll reach. Yeah, with the belt still on the pulley, it tensioned it to where it holds still, but not well enough, so I ended up having to improvise. Had to break the pulley loose. That was being a pain in the shop, but I had to break this loose to get the pulley off. Near the bottom of the power steering pump in the back, there is a tensioner bracket that you just loosen up. And since it's a manual mechanical bolt that holds the tension on there, once you loosen that, it'll loosen the tension of the pump and the belt can be removed. At this point, the housing bolt and the tensioner bolt are loosened, so I can begin taking the pulley off. Once I get the pulley off, which violence is the answer for taking that off, after an awkward savage beating to the pulley finally starts to come loose. I have to give the nature documentary people credit because I am running out of words. Now that the pulley is freed from the shaft, I can now take the housing bolt completely off the bracket. Don't do as I do, watch as I do. Alright, now that the pump is completely loose, it can be taken out. My 12-volt gun wasn't successful at breaking loose the power steering pump nut, so I had to play an awkward game of Twister standing on top of the pump to try and break it loose. Messed up the pulley a lot. This is all kind of self-explanatory, right? Just gotta put the bracket and everything back together. And then reverse order, putting everything back on. Success, I think. While beating the pulley back on, I kept spinning it to try and put it on there evenly. At the end, when I tension the nut on there, I should put it on there evenly. With the belt on, once you push the pump over, it tensions it on the tensioner, and you can just put the bolt through and tighten it. While I was at it, I changed the vacuum valve that controls the idle while you're turning. That's 18. Don't really know if it makes a difference. I'll find out soon enough. hole for vacuum, so I assume it would be the same thing. Off. I am done commentating. I'm tired of hearing my own voice. I also installed some battery terminals, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to skip past that. We all know how to put on some battery terminals, right? These had some extra bolts for accessory mounting. Now that the power steering pump was done, I could fill it and then bleed it out. I'll leave the cap off to let it bleed out. After I start the vehicle, I just turn left to right until it bleeds out all the air. Okay, first drive with the power steering activated again, or working. Activated. Feels good, no groaning. I can't tell you how nice it is having power steering after months. The Venusaur brand. Venusaur. I like Venus. So with the addition of the load adjusters, I also decided to throw in some leaf spring helpers. These are pretty simplistic. It's just some U-bolt tensioned up. These help adding a little bit of spring back to the leaf springs, but not as much as I would hope. I might need a second pair, but these and the load adjusters were still cheaper than one leaf spring. So yeah, I'm going to take this angle grinder and knock all the rust off and continue with the bodywork. Well, I haven't messed with Bondo in a long time, and I had this in my storage unit, and it kind of separated, so I was hoping it'd still work. I had to stir it up until it was a solid consistency again. You can see the panic in my erratic movements as I hastily try to lay this stuff down before it hardens. I definitely should have took the fender liner completely off, but I ended up getting it pretty flush. And yeah, I made quite a bit of a mess with this stuff dripping everywhere. I had to pick that off the ground. Then go up. After that, I had to sand it down, try to get as flush as I could with the body. Lesson learned, I definitely need a match for next time. This leaves off a lot of debris. I was just trying to hold my breath and finish what I could. Alright, well I ran out of material, so I'm going to clean up a few. This is just brake cleaner. Clean it up with it. I'm going to hit it with some converter stuff and then paint it for now. I'll breathe that in. I ran out of body filler, so I'll have to continue this at a different time. I'm just going to spray the bare metal with some primer paint. I have some changes that I have to announce in one of the upcoming videos. I'll get to that soon enough. I've been trying to adjust to the changes and trying to get my schedule back for YouTube to be more consistent. So I'm gonna wrap it up for this video. And again, I have no idea what I'm doing bodywork wise. I'm just willing to try. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.